This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Another baseball season's in the books. We have our winner of the 2024 MLB season. I am Crispy Bacon, here with James. How you doing this evening?
I'm good. I kind of jumped the gun there. It was a routine thing.
Okay.
I gotta make it seem like it's like Sunday morning where I'm not hosting.
Okay.
I'm barely awake. You know, whenever we do morning tailgate, like.
Because what, it's 8 a.m. your time?
Yeah. And then, you know, in a couple of weeks, we got the Germany game with the Giants and Panthers. That'll put everybody to sleep.
Lord.
Sorry, Germany. I guess the wrong team won, but in case you didn't want any of the teams to win this World Series, and happy Halloween to everybody. I know I'm going to be wearing this tomorrow, but maybe this should replace my face today. But happy Halloween. Don't eat too much candy out there. And, I don't know. I don't think anybody trick-or-treats anymore. I'm not sure, but...
Unless you're a kid. I mean, kids do, but if you're an adult,
if that.
you go to parties or something.
It's like everybody does, like from their school. Not really.
Yeah. Well, in some families.
Yeah, and then they don't go far like I used to. It's always a thing, you know, but I guess not anymore. But it ended before the month of November, which I'm happy about because the World Series I always remember always ended in October, except one year in 2001. And then every other year it's been November, but just because there's more rounds playing, more games played, more days in between of series, you know, all that.
So next year will be entering November, you're saying?
More than likely, you know, depending though if we have a, depending how the series all go,
right?
You know, with how it goes, but it hit or miss. I just remember just World Series ending in October and liking it that way.
Yeah, because it's October baseball. November baseball.
November's supposed to be like the starting of like the other leagues, and then getting into the cold months of, you know, football for both football.
And I'm sure a lot of the, you know, baseball players are maybe doing winter ball or if they're doing some kind of baseball on the side just to keep going. Don't stop.
The ones that really need it, they go to another country. They go to a warm climate like, you know,
Mexico or Honduras, or not Honduras, I shouldn't say. Venezuela, Puerto Rico. They go down there to really tune their craft. You know, rookie ball going on in December. I think, what is it called? The stuff I follow. There is
ball going on out in California.
Yeah.
And Arizona. So there's always baseball going on, that's for sure.
It's like soccer in a way. There's always some kind of league and affiliation and all that stuff.
Right.
But yeah, in 5 games, Dodgers, won. You had the Yankees who were leading yesterday, probably more than once. Looked like they're gonna continue the series, and then there was a blown play, and all this stuff. I watched here and there, but I did read comments like, "Why did Garrett Cole, blew the lead and this and that?" And everybody was upset with Aaron Judge. How he's this great player, and he is, but when it mattered the most in the series where you could have continued the series and maybe potentially ended, headed to a game, 6 or 7, uh, it just didn't work out. You there, James?
Oh yeah. I wasn't sure if you were done.
I was. What did you think of the series in general?
Oh yeah. So for game 1,
I mean, that game is about everything. It was so much fun to watch. And, Chris, going into the series, I didn't know what to think of it. A lot of people are saying, yeah, the Yankees were going to be the underdogs coming into the game, but they had enough power to, upset the Dodgers, or at least, make it fun, and they did. And right away, all that came about in game 1.
Yeah.
To tell you the big parts about it, LA got out to a 1-0 sac fly by Will Smith made in the bottom of the 5th. Both pitchers were going well. It was Yamamoto and for the Dodgers, and then Garrett Cole, the Yankee ace, who they paid all that money to. And Juan Carlos Stanton had the big home run that literally went over the lights and went over by the LA bullpen to make it 2-1. And bottom of the 8th, Mookie had a sac fly and made it 2-2. Top of the 10th was great for the Yankees. They got a ground out, but a run scored to make it 3-2, and you thought the game was over. Guess what? In the bottom of the 10th, with the bases loaded, there were walks that went on, and the Yankees brought on their pitcher that everybody didn't want to see to pitch to Freddie Freeman, and he left a middle end pitch where Freddie Freeman loves it. And I didn't even realize I was not even on.
Oh, you're good.
But yeah,
Freddie Freeman hit a grand slam to win it, and it was the first walk-off grand slam ever in the World Series. It was
such a surprise that happened, but
it was also done by that pitcher for New York. I'm trying to remember his name, but Nestor Cortez, and that was one guy that the Yankees or Yankee fans didn't want to see.
And that was a real shocker. So
the Dodgers won 3 on that Freddie Freeman walk-off grand slam, and he was hot throughout the series, remember. Game 2, it was pretty much more of the same. The Dodgers held on to win 4-2. And I'm sorry, Yamamoto got the win in the first one, and Flaherty went in game 1 for Los Angeles. So Yamamoto was great through 7 innings. I mean, he was awesome for LA. Same with Flaherty there as well. Like a lot of innings starting off the game for each team, and they could not score. Tommy Edman, bottom of the 2nd in that game 2, homered, and then Juan Soto homered, both solo shots, 1-1 tie in the 3rd, and then Teoscar Hernandez had a big home run.
3-1. It was a 2-run home run to give LA the lead. And then Freddie Freeman continued the hot streak by hitting another home run. He had a solo shot this time to make it 4-1. In the top of the ninth, Stanton just got an RBI single, and that was it. So the Dodgers won 2-0, and you figured, man, LA is in control of the series. The Yankees could not get one of those on the road like they really, really needed. That was a real backbreaker, I think, for them there. Game 3 in New York, you wondered how it would go. Would the Yankee crowd rally the Yankees? But it didn't happen. Walker Buehler was really good for the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman homered again. So he had 3 home runs in 3 of the games. I think he had a stat where it was he homered in 5 straight World Series games going back to Game 5 and 6 of the 2021 World Series with the Braves. So think about that. He had a 2-run home run to start the game, and then top of the third, Mookie had a single to make it RBI single, make it 3-0. Enrique Hernandez had a single, or Kike Hernandez made it 4-0. Verdugo did have a 2-run home run to make it 4-2, but that was it. And the Yankees lost the game, and it seemed like they were done, and it might have been a sweep. But then Game 4 came, and the Yankees piled it on. They won 11-4. It seemed like the Dodgers put out that game just their non-experienced, not that good relievers in Game 4, knowing that, hey, we're just gonna get them tomorrow, which was yesterday. But it's just weird how the Dodgers played that game, where they basically took it off. But yeah, the Yankees won 11-4. Freddie Freeman did homer again, so it was 6 straight World Series games that Freddie Freeman homered. And again, another 2-run home run to start the game in the top of the first. It was almost at that point where you had to walk him. Verdugo had a ground out in the bottom of the second to make it 2-1. And then Volpe hit a big home run to make it 5-2. It was a grand slam in the bottom of the third. Smith homered for LA to make it 5-3. They scored another one also in the top of the fifth. But then bottom of 6, Austin Wells had a home run to make it 6-4. Verdugo went on to bring home a run to make it 7-4. Gleyber Torres had a 2-run home run, or 3-run home run to make it 10-4. Judge finally got a hit and made it 11-4. I don't know if you know this, Chris, but you could just tell Aaron Judge was really, really struggling in this series. I mean, he finally had that single RBI, but that was it. It was like there was nothing really else up until then. He didn't really do anything at all. It was really, really shocking to see that. And he just and every time he came up to the plate, you know, the fans were
trying to encourage him. Case was now game what was it? Game 5? No. Yeah, Game 5 yesterday. It started off with scoreless top of the first for LA. But in the bottom of the first, Aaron Judge hit a home run finally, his third of the postseason, the 2-run shot that made it 2-0. Like finally, something happened for Aaron Judge in the series. Then Jazz Chisholm hit a home run back-to-back to make it 3-0. And I was listening to the game, the Yankees broadcast, and they were mentioning it was Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, Mantle, and I believe it was Maris that both hit back-to-back home run games for the Yankees, back-to-back home runs in a game. So Chisholm and Judge are part of that history for New York. It's just funny how that goes. In the bottom of the second, also, Verdugo had an RBI single to make it 4-0. So he thought 4-0. They got it, right? Bottom of the third, Giancarlo Stanton hit a home run, or Giancarlo Stanton, and it was 5-0 bottom of the third. And you thought, okay, going back to Cali, and the Yankees are coming with the Dodgers for Game 6. on Friday, right? Game 5, right? Game 6, I mean. Then that's where things started to turn in that top of the 5th. Mookie Betts had a single RBI single to make it 5-1, and then the errors started to happen for New York. I mean, it was really, really bad. Freddie Freeman, though, had a single to drive home 2 to make it 5-3. So again, Freddie Freeman had another game with an RBI. Teoscar Hernandez, after the 3 errors, had a double to bring home 2 more runs to tie the game at 5. And just like that, all hope was lost, and Yankee Stadium was so quiet. It was 5-5. Bottom of the 6th came up when Giancarlo Stanton had a sac fly to score a run to make it 6-5. And you thought, okay, the Yankees got the run back. But in the top of the 8th, the Dodgers got a sac fly to make it 6-6. So they went back and forth. And then again, the Dodgers had another sac fly to make it 7-6. So they took it station by station right there. The Dodgers took the lead. And then the bullpen came in, and they did a wonderful job, I think, all series long. It was a wonderful job by the Dodger bullpen. Graterol, Trident, and then Walker Buehler, the game 3 starter, came in and threw absolute gas, got the 2 strikeouts and the last out. And the Dodgers win their 8th franchise World Series, one in Brooklyn. That was in 1955 over New York. And then 59 in LA, 63 swept New York, 65, 81 against New York, 88, 2020 in the bubble in Texas. And now 2024 for the Dodgers over New York in 5. For New York, let me just say this. It was great that they got to the World Series. I don't know if I ever expected them to win the series. They had little glimpses here and there of power, but their pitching in the end would let them down. And then again, it was the comedy of errors that happened in that game 5, in that 5th inning. I mean, they could have had the last out of that 5th inning, and Garrett Cole would have been out of it. Just up by 2 runs. He would have only gave up 3 runs. But instead, Rizzo had to go back on the ground ball, and Betts beat it out. And then that prolonged the inning with 2 outs, and then the Dodgers got 2 more runs. I mean, it was just the Yankees who beat themselves basically in that game 5. And that was really bad. But Freddie Freeman got the World Series MVP, as you can mention, or as you can see or hear. I mentioned his name throughout every game. He had at least 1 RBI in each game. He was that hot for the Dodgers. Remember, Shohei Ohtani in game 2 had the stolen base late, but he popped his shoulder out of place. And there was thought that he would be out for the series, but he stayed in there. He didn't get many hits, just drew some walks, and just was very careful with the non-pitching arm injury that he had. For the Dodgers, I think it's validation, even from that 2020 World Series. Shohei gets his first ring. Mookie gets his 3rd. He's the only player currently with 3 World Series, 1 with the Red Sox in 18 over LA, and then with LA 2020 and now 2024. Freeman has his 2nd ring, 2021 with the Braves and here with LA. Ohtani, though, he gets his 1st out of maybe many with LA. And they're only going to get better, it feels like. Pitchers are coming back for them who got injured. Flaherty did well in game 1, but not in game 5. You got to give up to Walker Buehler getting that last out. He went through a lot this year with injuries and other things off the field. Yamamoto had a good game to go out. That was really good for LA there. And for him, for the Yankees, though, at least they got this far. And then we'll talk about them in a little bit in Juan Soto. But yeah, the Dodgers 1-5, and I know there was people that really didn't know who to go for in this series, and for me, I was just like, hey, at least get me to a 6th or 7th game, and then whatever happens, happens. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. I didn't want the Dodgers to win. I know that.
Are you at least happy for I can't think of his name.
Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, thank you.
I can't be, because, and I know Halo's in the Infield, the other network I work for, they were mentioning he could have gone anywhere else. He could have went to the Yankees for all we cared. That would have been fine. He had to go to LA. He had to, play with the Dodgers, and
he had to stay close to home, kind of.
Yeah, he didn't have to go too far. But with the Dodgers, the thing that he did that he didn't have with the Angels, and he said this too, where he's like, hey, it's easier for me here because there's so much talent around me, and that's never happened before.
Obviously, that happened.
Yeah, where I don't have to do as much, or I could just be comfortable in my setting, and the people will win around me. And he never had that with the Angels.
The Angels has to be kicking themselves right now.
That's what I mean. That's what I hate, is just like, that was never going to happen here. Or with the Angels, it was never going to happen there. But I think the league wanted this. They wanted the series. And they wanted Ohtani and the Dodgers to win. They would have been fine with New York winning, but the story would have been better for Ohtani, just hitting this year, just being a DH, and him pitching just for this, or for next season coming up.
What do you think? What do you think happens now? Going back to a story we did at the beginning of the season of Ohtani and the gambling thing with his interpreter or ex-interpreter. Now that he's won the World Series, what do you think kind of happens there? Like, we don't want to suspend him because he just won the World Series.
His season started off with, that controversy. They happened to be in South Korea against the Padres, so everybody was, watching those. Well, not everybody. I stayed up for one game, but I think I fell asleep for the other game in Korea. But it was a bad start, and everybody, thought he was guilty, and probably he was, allegedly. But he got through that, and it was almost like everything disappeared. MLB wanted you to forget everything about it, and I think they all did, and they made people do that. They can manipulate that, because Ohtani went out there, got the 54 home runs, 54 stolen bases. No one's ever had 50-50. Right. Aaron Judge for New York had so many home runs. So we had both MVPs in this World Series, by the way, too. So Ohtani went from like controversial to, let's forget about that and let's see how far he can hit the home runs. I think everything about that gambling thing, and all went away. His old interpreter was basically the fall guy, and it was just, you never forget about it. You keep in the back of your mind what happened, but with it accumulating to a world championship, it just like, it blew all that out of the door, basically. And it's just like a footnote to history.
Right.
Which I never will get in trouble for it. And we'll just go from there. So Ohtani's had a hell of a year on and off the field, but it all took care of itself in a way.
In a way. Christy Wilson has a has a couple thoughts and a couple thoughts. She's saying, "I wish the series was more competitive. I
And
feel that it
how?
wasn't."
Yeah, it felt like the Dodgers all through the series had the experience. You saw that from the bottom of their lineup with Kike Hernandez, Max Muncy. They had more power, more hitting in the lineup than the Yankees had in theirs. Of course, both lineups, they had the power and the speed at the top of the lineups. But as you went down, more of the inexperience showed for the New York Yankees, and more of the experience for the Dodgers showed, and that's why they went on to win in 5. And then the Yankees pitching, the bullpen that got them there, Luke Weaver, Clay Holmes, they did well up until they didn't. The Dodger bullpen, though, just really, really shined. Tradden did so well. And it was those two things that you remember the show we did, I think, last week, where we're previewing the series, where it's like, hey, which bullpen will be better? And we were going through the names of the two franchises, and it felt like the Dodgers had more of the names and more of the experience over what New York had, and it came out to be that way. How we analyzed it.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. We kind of predicted that. And do you think Dodgers are overrated?
No. With all those names at the top of the lineup, and then the fact that they can win multiple championships, they can win 3 in a row. I really believe that. They're not overrated because if they were, then they would lose. Then they would have lost. And they spent so much money on the team when you think about it. Yamamoto gets 330. Shohei will get that $700 million contract. They're already paying Freeman and Betts and Glasnow and who else? There's just a lot of contracts out there that are just Glasnow's contract too, who they signed and he got hurt. They just have so many people buying in that have been there a while, and that they're just the best right now. There's nothing you can do. I think they would be overrated if they don't win 3 out of the next 4 championships, or 2 of the next 4 championships coming up. I think in 5 years you have to figure it out. If they don't win multiple championships, then you think, okay, they're kind of overrated. They should have had more by now. You know what I mean? All the time that Roberts has been the manager there since 2013, they've gone to the playoffs every year. Think about that. And they only won 1 championship up until yesterday. Yeah. So they've only won 2 in all that time.
But do you count that one?
They counted it on the screen.
That's true.
They counted it, but the thing I was gonna say with all the years before, they were overrated just because they could never win the World Series.
Okay.
But now they're rightly rated now.
Christy's also saying that Freeman winning the World Series MVP was not a surprise to her because of how he played in the series.
And not even the way that he played, but just the way he hit. And all those clutch moments. Not in those clutch moments. Just in that one in game 1 with the walk-off grand slam. And once he hit it, everybody knew it was gone. And it set a tone for the whole damn series for Freeman. Like I mentioned, he had the straight games with first inning home runs. And then he just kept getting RBI singles and doubles, whatever the case was. That's just total dominance on his part and getting the team off to a good start in every game. He did that. He was so amazing. And think about his season too. He went through injury. He went through his child having that
Guillain-Barré syndrome.
Thank you, that syndrome. And he had to take, I think it was a couple of weeks away from the team because the boy was, losing his, what was it? Not his nerve. He couldn't really function or anything.
Like
now
he's motor skills, something like that.
His whole nerve system was kind of shut down. I think that's what I heard it was. And then he had to come back and get back in the rhythm of things. And he was welcomed back, of course, and loved. And I was just so amazed at his playing this year. And then you add on the injury in the playoffs against San Diego with his ankle. And you thought, man, if he can't run down the baseline, how the hell is he going to play first base?
Right.
They can't put him at DH because Shohei is there. So it was some nervous times in that Padres series, and everybody thought that the Padres had him. They were up 2-1. All they could have done was win in San Diego. The Padres could have won in San Diego and eliminated the Dodgers. And the Dodgers just showed their muscle.
That is true. I got a question. Is Will Smith the catcher on a 1-year deal, or is he back for the Dodgers?
I haven't looked it up, but I will now because he's been there a long time. I remember when he was, I think, the backup to what's his name? AJ. Oh God, it was Clayton Kershaw's favorite pitcher. Like he wouldn't pitch to anybody else. Not AJ Smith, but AJ. I forgot his name, but anyway, he's been there a while. I'm trying to see his status for
while you're looking that up, Chrissy's saying a Padres Yankees World Series could have been more interesting, in my opinion.
That's what I know everybody was hoping for, but I think just for just for ratings purposes, LA and New York did better. But the only thing is, I being down here in San Diego, I would have loved that the Padres would have made it. Win or lose, it would have been awesome.
And I'm asking about Will Smith is because in 2020 with the Dodgers, he won the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
In 2021 with the Braves, he won the World Series. In 2022 with the Astros, he won the World Series. Last year with the Rangers, he won the World Series. This year with the Dodgers, he won a World Series.
But it's not the same Will Smith.
Yes, it is.
No, the other Will Smith is that relief pitcher, the left-hander. Yeah. So this is a catcher, Will Smith, who's been there with the Dodgers. No, he signed a 10-year contract worth $140 million to stay with the Dodgers. And he also deferred $45 million of that and included a $30 million signing bonus. So he's going to be there until he retires with Los Angeles. So he'll be there a while. I forgot all about that because the Dodgers were throwing around money like crazy. And all of a sudden, I forgot just before the season started on March 24th that he decided to stick around. Why would he go anywhere else? He's not going to get this. He'll probably get a little more money if he went somewhere else, but still. But still, he wanted to be on a winner and just be that veteran guy.
Because Tim Hendricks, who's on Morning Tailgate, he's like, even though the 2024 one is the catcher, so the name Will Smith has won a World Series in
Right.
5 straight. Okay, I get it now.
Right. But all Will Smiths don't look alike.
No. But I thought that was a little bit of a interesting little nugget. What do you think the rating is, that makes a good World Series? Like, when you look at ratings.
It has to be a long series, and then you have to have all the stars align like they did with the Dodgers and Yankees. You have to have both franchises with history, and that's why it worked out for these two teams. The only thing is the way that the Dodgers were winning the series, winning the games, it was like, oh, it's over, But that's why I wanted a game 6 and 7.
Yeah, I was hoping for at least 6 games, but I have the ratings here. Game 1 on October 25th. What do you think the number is in millions?
14.
You're close. 15.2 million. Game 2, how many?
Probably 17 because it was Saturday.
13. 13.8 actually.
You know why though? Because of the college football games.
And then game 3 on October 28th.
Probably less. Probably like 10.
And 13.6.
That's good. See,
game 4 on October 29th.
Probably 11.
16.7 million.
Wow, because they thought the Dodgers would sweep.
And then yesterday, how many?
Yes, yesterday it was probably 15.
18.6.
Yeah, you wanted to see if the Dodgers could do it. I remember last between Arizona and Texas, it was like 9 million, if that, I want to say, for one of those games. And the series wasn't that interesting because Seager was rolling it with Garcia.
Right.
And let me say this too. I think for the Dodgers, this was a historic comeback for Game 5. They were the first team down 5 runs to come back and win a clinching World Series game. So the Dodgers had that going for them yesterday, where it looked like they were going back to LA with New York, but they historically came back.
Yeah. It was an interesting matchup. I mean, it was good viewership all around, 13 at least amount of viewers to about 18 to finish it out. I think that's a successful World Series. Don't you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What you said? What?
About 13 to 18 million.
Yeah, and think about Japan. They had games in the morning, like 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., whenever it was. You had to factor in those people too, and I wanted to see those ratings, but I know those were huge too.
I can probably find those in
they were about this. I think they were about the same. Just because of the time of the day it was over there and people going to work and school.
Right.
So I think it was about the same, but it was just a different hour as well. So, and they're different over there.
We'll get back to the World Series here later, kind of. It involves the Yankees, but a Minnesota Twins player calls it a career, and his career has, kind of officially started, but now it's ended.
Yeah, Alex Kirilloff. When he began his career, he was kind of the chemist prospect. He was a great hitter coming up with the Twins. He made his major league debut back in 2020. The Twins went to the wild card series and lost, I believe, to New York at that time in that series. But he retires at the age of 26. He's at peace with the retirement, but he mentioned injuries took a mental and physical toll on him. He was the 2016 15th overall pick for Minnesota that really never got the chance to get that sky high potential for Minnesota. He was going to be maybe a cornerstone, a long-time cornerstone of the Twins going forward. But he says, life is difficult. A couple years ago, if you told me we'd be having this conversation, I wouldn't have believed you. But we're here now. There's things definitely I'll miss about baseball and about the game. But ultimately there is a lot more that plays into a decision at this point in time. So 9 seasons in professional baseball. I think 3 were in the minor leagues. But once he was ranked as high as number 9 in the prospects ranks. He was born in Western Pennsylvania, which has brought so many great athletes out. He did well in the minor leagues. He had 4 years where he was being sent up and down. And then there would have been a 4th consecutive season off season for recovery for him if he decided to continue and rehab this off season. But ultimately, his injury would lead to a career-ending back injury. So that's why he just said, "I've had enough." I think he wants the opportunity to, be able to, pick up his kids and have fun and not just continue to have, back issues. If he continued to play, it would be more. And and also he had a wrist injury in a couple of years, 21 and 22. But it was just like one of those things. Other from 2023, every other year he was dealing with an injury. And when he was in the lineup in 24, he could never hit effectively. And what was it? He revealed the back strain that sent him on the IL since June 13th of this year. And then he would have been demoted to the minor leagues. And he just thought, it's time that that he stops playing and that he realizes his injuries could continue in life, being worse, I should say. So credit to him for knowing when enough is enough.
It is. You have to know your body. You have to know the signs of when to call it quits, when you can continue. You just got to know when it's time, and I'm sure he will be back in the MLB in a different capacity as a coach, as a trainer, something like that. Maybe as a baseball prospect evaluator. I don't know. I think he's going to stick around in baseball just in a different capacity. And it's cool that former players can do that in any sport to continue in the sport they love just in a different way.
Yeah, it's
And
tough.
I think that's going to happen.
It's tough because you figured you'd play all your life or the majority of it, but then you realize your body's laying you down and you cannot continue to be in pain. The mental and physical
I think we lost James for a little bit. Hopefully we can get reconnection with him here in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you there, James?
Yeah, back.
Okay. What was your thought? You froze for a little bit.
No, I was done with that. My Wi-Fi went crazy right now.
Technology.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with your Angels in a trade?
Well, other from being the stepchild of the Dodgers here in Southern California, the Angels did make a trade this morning, and I think it shocked the hell out of a lot of people. But it has a connection with their manager and their general manager. But the Angels traded for Jorge Soler, the power hitting outfielder / DH. The GM for the Angels, Perry Manassian, mentions this is move number 1, and we expect more moves to be done. Let's see if he could cook up something. But this is a huge pop to their lineup that they really, really needed. And you get an outfielder or DH with all the other young guys. You bring a veteran with some pop, with some power. And he's been bouncing around. He was with the Royals when they won, with the Braves when they won. And then he went back to the Braves after a trade with the Giants, I believe. He's 32 years of age. He has 191 career home runs in 11 seasons. He was they didn't win with the Royals, or he didn't, but he was an all-star in 2023 for Florida. He had 48 home runs in 2019. Like I mentioned, he went from the Giants to the Braves before the deadline, I should say. Last year, he had 21 home runs, 34 doubles, 64 RBIs in 142 games. By the way, the Angels had the third worst slugging percentage in the majors last year, and it's a move that you need to make in order to get your lineup going. And he showed that he had a powerful home run in the wild card series in San Diego that really shocked everyone in that time. So he earned rings with the Cubs early in his career in 2016, and then in with the Braves in 2021, where he was named World Series MVP when he batted 300 and he had 3 home runs, a double, and 6 RBIs in Atlanta's 6-game championship against who the hell did they play that year? In the American League, the Houston Astros. That's right. So Ron Washington was a third base coach at the time with the Braves in 21, and he formed a strong bond with Soler. So that's why that move just seems so familiar. Now, the great part about this, and the struggling Griffin Canning goes to the Braves. He's been a starting pitcher that had injury issues throughout his career with the Angels. He was 6-13 last year, 5+ ERA. He did get the strikeouts, but damn, he got into so many bad innings where he would give up a lot of runs. Basically, in the first inning, he was always a problem. In his career, only 25 wins, 34 losses, 99 games. So maybe going to the Braves will help him out, but he needed a change of scenery, I think, for Canning. It seems like though everywhere a former Angel goes, they do better somewhere else. So hopefully he gets the right tutelage with the Braves, and that'll happen. So maybe he'll be an all-star next year with the Braves. Who knows? But the Angels, they get some power in their lineup and maybe a little defense as a left fielder. We'll see what happens. But I like the move, Chris. I really do.
You like the move right now, but we all know it's baseball, and by the time the season rolls on, he could be.
Hey, wait.
Who knows?
Instead of the season ending for the Angels in June, it'll end in July.
Okay, well, we're hopeful. That's good. That's good.
One more month of meaningful baseball, hopefully. But if they still have to make, they still have to get 2 aces. They still get they still have to get Jack Flaherty, but he'll probably stay with LA. They need 2 starters.
I was doing the cards, aces, jacks.
They need to figure out what to do with Rendon, either get rid of him or just know he's not going to play most of the year. What else? Another outfielder, 3 starters. Still need a lot, but this is a great path. And it's a day after the World Series, too, which is crazy.
You don't need a lot for a lot. You just need a little for a lot.
They're going to spend a lot.
Boy, I don't have that kind of money to spend a lot, but I would probably manage it a little bit better. And then finally, will Juan Soto get a, speaking of money, $700 million contract? And what team or teams are already interested in him?
So this is cool when I saw this because does he pitch, Juan Soto, Chris? Do you know if he pitches?
I want to say he does. That kind of sounds familiar, but I can't say 100%.
He's just a right fielder for the Yankees. And he's not even that good of a right fielder, but he gets on base with the walks and home runs and doubles, whatever the case is. He does do that well. But he wants that Ohtani money. But he doesn't pitch. No one should ever get $700 million ever again, at least in this time. But Juan Soto today, the report is that he's eyeing that record deal, and many clubs are already showing interest. He's now been a free agent for 24 hours since the Yankees lost yesterday. And 8 teams checked in with Soto last night after the game. 8 teams reached out to him.
Like the moment it said 3 outs and game over. Ring, 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 ring.
By the way, he was caught on camera. No, just sitting there in the dugout with his helmet on, with his bat, in his hands, just sitting in the dugout as the Dodgers are celebrating. He didn't take his helmet off. He didn't take his gloves off. He really wanted to go up and bat, and come back in that game last night. But he was sitting there just like, oh my God, this is it, So I don't know what that means. You could read that into so many things, or like, oh, that's his last game with the Yankees. Excuse me. He knows he's going somewhere else. Whatever. I don't know. But it will be unclear to see how many teams meet that asking price of $700 million.
Okay, I got a question. And it was a rumor I heard. It's not official. They're speculating because I think it was in the Athletic online publication, and they're saying that they're looking at the Rangers free agents and or in their cap space and all that, and they would have to move over some players or remove, get rid of, and DeGrom's on that list. And there's a proposal that he could jump back to the Yankees. Not that he would, he doesn't want that, but you could kind of see the speculation there. Could you see a trade like that?
Well, he was a Met before. He wasn't a Yankee.
Right. But he would go back to New York.
I wouldn't touch him. No. No way. No. So it's just one of those things where, and they already have Garcia though in right field. Like you don't need another outfielder. You need another starter probably.
But I'm afraid it's kind of like the Cowboys a little bit where, yeah, we have Garcia, but do they want Garcia? Do the Rangers want Garcia?
Hell yeah, he's less expensive.
And his fans were like, yeah, keep him. Keep, most of the 2023 team together.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to move on, though.
I said most. I didn't say all of them.
Yeah. You know what I think the unfortunate part you saw as a Ranger fan maybe was Mark Leiter Jr. Remember, he came up with the Rangers this year. He had a couple of bad starts. He was sent up and down, and the Yankees basically the Rangers traded him to New York, and they kind of fixed him, and he came out of the bullpen for the Yankees in this World Series and playoffs. So it's just funny how that goes sometimes with some pitchers and whomever it is, where they just end up playing so much better with another team.
Yeah, it has to do sometimes with the environment, I think, and how you're being coached.
Yeah, that was definitely a good thing.
Because you see players from any sport go from one team to the next and completely different environment, culture.
I know that with the Angels. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So.
That's a big thing with the
I wasn't
Angels.
saying it for that. I'm just saying, when you're watching it.
Mike Napoli went from the Angels to Texas. All of a sudden, he's an all-star. It's just too many times I remember that happening.
So you're saying your team's a pipeline?
Yep. They fail here, but then they find better elsewhere. They get coached better, like you mentioned. Let me mention this for Soto too. He had some quotes after the game where he said, quote, "I feel like every team has the same opportunities when I go into free agency. That's not true. I don't want to say anyone has an advantage because at the end of the day, we're going to look at how much they have and how much they want me. So you must have the money. You must have 700 mil to give to one guy, even though he doesn't pitch." The Mets, Yankees, and guess who? The Dodgers are all the top competitors right now for Juan Soto. The Dodgers could get Juan Soto. Are you kidding me? You might as well just you won't even play next year. Someone had mentioned the Giants, Blue Jays, and Red Sox are also 3 teams to look out for. And then, shockingly, 2 small market teams have already reached out. But just think about that. They could have Soto, Ohtani, Betts, Freeman in LA. That's just that would be crazy. And then also there were some other news I should say before we get out of here. The White Sox found their new manager, and boy, does he have a lot to clean up with the White Sox. Remember, they lost 121 games last year. But Will Venable was announced as the new White Sox manager yesterday. He's been a bench coach and a base coach with the Cubs, and remember, with your Rangers for a few years with Bruce Bochy. He was named as the 44th manager in White Sox history.
Dang.
So it's going to be a challenge for Venable. He was he was a 9-season major league player. He was a 2-sport athlete, baseball and football at Penn, I believe. It was basketball and baseball for the Ivy League Penn Tigers, I believe. Princeton. No, Penn is something. No, that's Princeton. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's Princeton. So I remember him when he played in San Diego. He was a good hitting outfielder or center fielder. But man, he has a lot to clean up with the White Sox, and he could just be an in-between guy for them, honestly. He might last a couple of years. Who knows? There's also some other moves. The Orioles traded for Daz Cameron, an outfielder. Remember his dad, Mike Cameron, who also played the outfield. But Baltimore acquired him in exchange for cash consideration with the A's. He's 24 years of age, and he's just trying to find his way to a team that really needs him. He was with the Orioles organization last season before he was moved around. And the New York Mets signed Reliever, right-hander Dylan Covey to a 1-year deal. He was a let's see, what was he? And the Mets also got Chris Davinsky. Covey, 33 years of age. He was was he? Yeah, he was with the Philadelphia Phillies last year. And then one more thing, I have to mention this. Bob Costas is retiring from baseball. I didn't even know that till right now. But he's retiring from play-by-play with MLB, and it kind of sounded like he was off doing the divisional series on TBS with the Yankees and Royals. It sounded like he was getting older. Maybe it was the colder weather. I don't know what the case was, but I'm just thinking he's done so much, not only with NBC, but I think he started off doing ABA games in St. Louis with the Spirits of St. Louis, I want to say, in the ABA in the 70s. And then he ended up in Chicago for WGN doing Chicago Bulls games. And then he ended up going to NBC, and he was covering the Olympics, the NFL, the NBA, golf, boxing, NASCAR even. But he called baseball games nationally starting in the 80s for NBC. He would do usually the ALCS. Vin Scully would do the he would do the ALCS. Vin would do the NLCS. That's when two of the championship series were only on one network, if you can believe that. Later on, though, he would do I didn't even know that, for ESPN. I didn't know he did that for CBS, ABC. But yeah, TBS, the last game he did was Game 4 of the ALDS between the Yankees and Royals this season. But I always remember him doing basketball for NBC, and then
football.
Yeah, he was a desk person for
but
football.
He did some broadcasting for football.
Right. I remember him at the desk. I don't remember him doing.
He also did Olympics.
Yeah, Olympics. Everybody remembers him for.
In the pink
I think what I was just about to say that. I think it was back in 2012 or 2016.
Yeah.
They have a shot of him with the pink eye, and that was kind of weird. But he woke up one morning and boom, it was right there. But yeah, career long lasting, and there's actually a game I have saved on my laptop. Laptop's over here, by the way. There's a game in 1985. Maybe I'll listen to it tonight as I try to get some sleep for work, but I'll listen to it as I go to sleep to see how he called that game. But it was with the Blue Jays and the Royals. In 1985, the ALCS, and believe it or not, in cold Canada, they played outdoors for so many years when that franchise started.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Oh, finally, then they got the Sky Dome, but for years they played outdoors, and he was the main guy broadcasting that game. So yeah, thank you, Bob Costas, for everything you did for baseball. He did so many World Series games when it was on NBC before they went to Fox. He was awesome for them. So thank you, Bob Costas, and that's my final thought right there.
Yeah, congratulations on a wonderful career. He's still going to do stuff for MLB Network as an analyst, so he's not going too far away from baseball. You're going to have your awards coming out throughout the month of November. Also Tuesday through Thursday, November 19th through the 21st. I'm going to go through everything. Owners meetings in New York, and then you'll have in December your let me make sure I'm saying it right. Your MLB winter meetings, and they'll be here in Dallas. You also have your Hall of Fame ballots for this year. Yeah. I can send you the list. But
Oh yeah, no, I
yeah, some
didn't. I
stuff
didn't know
coming
it
up
was
in
out there in Dallas. Usually
the
it's out here somewhere.
I didn't either. So that should be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, any final thoughts before we, close out the season? Be back for other episodes down the
Yeah,
line.
this will be the finale of 2024 for On Deck. Maybe we'll be back on during the winter meetings, or maybe the MLB news will come on for Sports Hour. We'll see about that. But hopefully we have a lot of movement, especially with the Angels. Hopefully we have some free agents and some trades that we can talk about. Hopefully they're not done, right before the season or in season like this season happened, where you had players signing already a week in, into the game or into the season and delayed them or whatever, or in spring training.
They need a closing period. They need a true closing period.
From December 1st to February 20th, and then have spring training go.
Or you can do the end of January or end of the December, end of January.
That
Like
would
a
be
full
strict.
month.
That would be strict.
Yeah.
But no, I think just for those big free agent names, we need to get those done right away, so
That should
teams
be
can focus on
priority.
what the hell they need. Yeah, yeah.
You must, pick up a key free agent within this window, and have like a price tag on it, so to speak.
700 million.
And I'm saying like people in this, like in this bracket of money, you must target.
They already
first.
do that, but it gets crazy sometimes because the owners don't want to give as many years out because they don't think a player's worth so much later on. I think
Right.
everybody's haunted by A-Rod and the Pujols' contracts, that they don't want to do 10 years ever again with anybody, and it's smart business.
Yeah. But that's it pretty much. I don't have anything else to go over. With that, we'll be back, sometime down the road with another On Deck. Join us for Entertainment Hour. I believe it's just me and Dragon Viper, but
Yeah, I got people coming in.
Okay. So we'll see how that goes, and if there's anything created out of that. But then we have on our morning tailgate this Sunday. That should be fun. A lot of movement there. Just stick with Coast to Coast with all of our great shows. He's showing off his NFL football. And with that, hope you guys enjoyed On Deck for this 2024 season. We'll be back with more episodes covering the 2025 season. And with that, enjoy your off season and see you guys in 2025 for On Deck.